The Dublin Food Pantry began in the late 1970s in literally a small closet at Dublin Community Church, United Church of Christ. As the need in Dublin grew, it also grew into this slightly larger closet, then to this room where clients shopped for their items with the help of a volunteer. This worked very well until COVID, when clients could no longer come inside and choose their own items. This necessitated the move to this space known as the Goodwill Room of the church, where carts were filled and volunteers interacted with the clients at their cars in the parking lot. Many times the cars stretched through the lot, out to Franklin Street, and often out to 161 Bridge Street. And many times, during and after COVID, up to 100 families were served during a 2-hour time period. Please listen to the voices of some of these families, volunteers, and community members who have been impacted by the Dublin Food Pantry.
Just as everyone eats here tonight, it's the mission of the Dublin Food Pantry, which has been serving our community for over 46 years, to ensure that everyone has healthy foods to eat every day. And your support will go a far way in that effort. Yet we still have much more work to do. Mother Teresa once said, if you can't feed 100 people, then feed just one. You know, it's up to all of us to make sure that the people in our community are not food insecure. Maybe it's a senior citizen in your neighborhood who's trying to decide whether or not to buy blood pressure medication or food because you can't afford to buy both. Or maybe it's a child who sits next to your child in school who arrives to school in the morning, often hungry. Here's how you can help. Support the Capital Campaign to help the Dublin Food Pantry help all the people that need it. Volunteer, your talents are always needed. Drop off donations or maybe host a food drive. But most importantly, share with those who may be food insecure and let them know that the pantry is here to help. If every one of us tries to feed one person, together we can feed 100 people.
Hi, I'm Kent Weekly with Nationwide Children's Hospital, and we share a very similar mission with the Dublin Food Pantry in that we care for the children of our community as well as our families. We know that 1 out of 4 children in Ohio are at risk for hunger, and Dublin is not immune to this startling statistic. We also know that food insecurity can lead to issues with education as well as health outcomes. So all the leaders of Dublin have really recognized this and have pulled together to help support the Dublin Food Pantry, and we are proud to do so.
Dublin has a food bank. Why? Well, come and volunteer. You'll understand very quickly the hunger that is out here. A lot of times you don't see it, when you're just out and about. But when you start working with the volunteers and you start to see the scope of the situation, and there's a big need in the community. The kids can't do well in school hungry, and the adults have a difficult time being able to work effectively being hungry.
Hi everyone, my name is Jen Schwanke and I am the Deputy Superintendent of Dublin City Schools. The Dublin Food Pantry has a profound positive impact on the students and families of Dublin City Schools. When a child doesn't have to think about being hungry, and when a family has a place and a space to go and get what they need to feed their family, it creates an environment that's truly better for all of us. In Dublin City Schools, one of our core values is better together, and that has a particular resonance when we think about the pantry and the schools. When we come together to make sure that children have what they need, it really does make sure that they have a bright future. So on behalf of Dr. John Marshausen, our superintendent, and the staff of Dublin City Schools, we thank the community that sustains the food pantry, and we're so grateful that we have this partnership.
I can literally look out my office window here at the church, down to the parking lot, and see the lines of cars as they line up on the days that the pantry serves. And so I've been able to just see firsthand with my own eyes the number of people that are that come to the pantry that we are able to serve, that the pantry is able to serve. I really do believe that individuals can change the world when we work together. I am confident we'll continue to support the pantry in its new space. So again, continuing with all of those things with with food drives, with financial assistance, with volunteering, with going and just being a part of this. I believe that as people, one of the absolute most important things that we do on this earth is feed people. So I know that this community will continue to really step up when it comes to making that happen.
If you think back to stories you heard around the table, you know, when you were a kid and growing up and you'd sit around with your parents or your grandparents, and I always heard the story about when my mom was little, so that was 1920s, Depression time, she would be visiting with her grandma for the summer, and so my great-grandma would get a knock on her back door from men that have come off the train, and she always fed them an egg sandwich and a cup of coffee. You helped people that way, where you had them over to the house and you fed them. We're not doing that, but we're kind of doing a take on that. The ones that are hard for me are when the wife has finally convinced the husband to come get food, that they've struggled and tried to get by as long as they possibly can, and then that man is there and he gets emotional, which makes me emotional. The man gets emotional because he's, you know, we've been raised, he should be providing for his family, and they just can't. And so it's hard sometimes for the man to come in and say, I need some help for my family, when, you know, for 50, 60 years, he's been the provider, and now suddenly they can't afford food.
It's gave me a lifeline, a bridge in between jobs, renewed my confidence. Highly recommend that anyone participate. I'm available, and make yourself available. You'll feel good and get some pipes going.
When I was a child, when back home, I'm originally from Egypt. It reminds me with like so many stories when I was a child. I remember when my mom fixed me lunch and I go share with my classmates when I was in elementary school, and I didn't even give them all my food, and I go to my mother. I fearing that if she asked me, are you done with your food? Because she knows I'm very picky and a small eater. When I tell her that I finished my food, I see her face like doubting that I finished my lunch, because I give it to other people. So I've seen it, so I know how it feels, and I know the pain that they go through, the struggle for parents to feed their kids and their family. So when I came here, started here, I said, this is the right place for me. Absolutely. They are very supportive, keep the smile, willing to help, do everything possible to ease the harsh time of life with the family, with food and some supplies for their kids especially. So I felt like I'm in the right place. That's why I'm really happy here with the Dublin Food Pantry. When I see the long line for how many clients, how many customers, how many families we have today, 60, 70, 80, and I said, wow, it's beautiful. You feel when you go home that you feel like I have peace in the heart, and you have the love. That's what you're doing, the love that you're helping people. You put a smile on their face. They went home and they have food. You don't have to worry about the food for a few days at least, or for a week even. That's amazing. That's amazing feeling. You cannot describe it with words.
Food Pantry's helped me out every month for years now. It helps me make my ends meet. It gives me at least food for about a week when I have absolutely nothing. It's one of those things like the husband's paycheck ended up short, or an unexpected expense came out and we no longer have the food money. To have that extra little helping hand is very, very, it's, how do I put it, reassuring. It's reassuring to know that the community is actually really helping others in the community. They don't judge you. They just have this most wonderful, sincere smiles, and they just want to help. It's a great thing. How can we change the world? Little ripples at a time. Everyone, every piece of kindness and goodness you do for someone else creates a ripple, and that ripple grows bigger and bigger and bigger for the more people that it touches. So every deed that you do really impacts more than just you and the person you did it for. It impacts everyone. It is a cycle. It ripples out throughout the world, and eventually, with every little ripple here and there, the kindness will win.
Pues gracias a Dios, cuando llegamos acá a este país, nos encontramos con esta fundación, la cual nos ha brindado mucho apoyo con la comida, porque como nosotros estamos en un proceso acá, el cual no podemos trabajar, pues no tenemos cómo comprar la comida, que es lo más importante.
So thank God, Aurelia says that they've recently come to this country, and she just thanks God that she found this organization, because the Dublin Food Pantry has helped their family with something as basic as having food.
Esta es una fundación que fuera genial que llegara a todas partes del mundo, porque hay tantos países que pasan tantas necesidades y hambre. Qué fuerte. Pues me gustaría que algún día en mi país llegara esto, porque, o sea, es algo que ayuda mucho. Hay países que pasan tanta hambre, tanta necesidad, que acá con esto que implementan, o sea, todo fuera diferente en esos países. ¿Cómo sería que mi país organizara como algo así, no hubiera tanta hambre?
So Aurelia is just saying how she just wishes and prays to God that the same type of service that the Dublin Food Pantry offers to people here in this community could only be available in her own country. That she thinks back to her family and friends that she left behind, and the hunger that they experience, and realizes that just how fortunate the people that live here in Dublin are, and how fortunate the clients and the individuals that go to the Dublin Food Pantry are, but thinking back to the need that there is outside of this community and in her home country, just makes her feel just wanting to give and share and give back.
Bueno, para poder cambiar el mundo es algo difícil, porque como hay tanta corrupción, tantas cosas malas hoy en día, pero cada día que pasa hay mejores personas buscando el bienestar de otras personas, como aquí en la iglesia de Community Cruz, que es una fundación organizada para el bienestar de toda la familia y el bienestar de todo su país, que ellos buscan la manera de cómo cambiar el país.
So Jesus explains that it's very difficult to change the world, a world that there's so much corruption and there's so many bad things, but there are heroes.
Si tuvieran la misma organización que tienen estas fundaciones en cada parte del mundo, pues el mundo fuera mejor.
Yeah. If we could only have the same organization, the same goals like the food pantry has, with that we would change the world.
As the Dublin Food Pantry moves to this exciting new location, we look forward to working with everyone in the community to better serve everyone in this wonderful community with compassion, love, and dignity that we all deserve.